Pokemon, without a shadow of a doubt, is one of, if not the most influential series to ever exist. The biggest draw are the creatures that inhabit all of the games, anime, manga, merchandise, etc. There's currently close to 900 Pokemon in existence, and if you include forms, that makes like, I don't know, 1200 plus or something? With Pokemon being so influential, of course others have tried their hand at creating Pokemon. But first, what even is a Pokemon? I guess most people would say Pokemon are animals. In Red and Blue, Oak said some people own Pokemon as pets. And we humans in the real world own animals as pets. So the animal comparison makes perfect sense. I've seen some say that they're kami, spectral entities, yokai, or that they're simply any living organism that isn't human that exists in their world. But even then, is that actually true? We could be here for hours arguing what they are, but ultimately, I don't think it matters. Pokemon has many inspirations for all their creatures, and I think it's a disservice to simplify them the way certain fans do. I've had people argue with me that Eevee is a fox. While yes, Eevee does draw inspiration from foxes, it also draws inspirations from cats, dogs, and vague woodland creatures from the creator's childhood. Eevee isn't based on any distinct animal. It's a Pokemon. Pokemon are one of those things where you know them when you see them. The easiest indicator if something is a Pokemon is usually the Sugimori art style. It's the art style that's been associated with the franchise since its birth, and over the years, of course, has evolved. For the sake of this video, I'm going to refer to fan-drawn Pokemon as Fakemon. Many fans draw Fakemon in Ken Sugimori's art style because of that easy recognizability. Or maybe because they like having their own creation feel official. Either way, if drawn in Sugimori style, you know it's meant to be a Pokemon. But the Sugimori style isn't the only way fans create Fakemon. Sometimes people draw their Fakemon in their own art style. We also have some amazing Fakemon sprite work that rivals the quality of official Pokemon sprites and would fool a younger me into believing that they were real. We even have people creating full 3D models of their Fakemon. And if you aren't heavily invested into the franchise, I wouldn't blame you for believing that they're real. There's some crazy talented individuals out there that make Fakemon, and today, I want to go over 10 of my absolute favorites I would love to see exist canonically in the franchise. Do I expect any of these to ever exist? Of course not. But one of my favorite parts of being in the Pokemon community is seeing all these different ideas. It makes you wonder what Pokemon could exist next. I want to really quickly say I encourage you all to check out the description of this video if you're intrigued by anything you see here. The description is filled with credits. Oh yeah, and by the way, this video is sponsored by me. As it stands right now, this channel loses me money. I spend hundreds of dollars on these videos sometimes, and it's because they're passion projects. But if this content is something you enjoy and you want to go above and beyond, consider becoming a member. For $5 a month, here is what you get access to. Custom badges next to your name. The longer you're a member, the better the badge gets. Custom emojis. You can use these in the comment section of my videos. Photos and status updates. Since uploads aren't super frequent, I'll keep you in the loop of what I'm working on. I'll post images of thumbnail sketches, the title of the next video, and even some scrapped content if there is any. You won't have to worry about when the next upload is. I'll keep you informed. Member-only polls. Your opinion matters. I'll host polls in my YouTube community tab for members to answer. Polls will directly influence the content on this channel. And finally, member shoutouts. At the end of videos, I'll include your name as a thank you for supporting me. If any of this sounds good to you, consider hitting that join button below the video. Thanks everyone. Narrowing down 10 Fakemon I wish were real was quite difficult. I don't have many restrictions for what can be made onto this list. I've included a fair few beta Pokemon, for example. While they weren't originally created by fans are what brought them to life with their drawings and including them in fan games. Fans made me wish they were real. I've also included quite a few Fakemon forms. I think that's because forms of Pokemon are more realistic to actually happen. My brain enjoys things that seem official, okay? That leads us to the first Fakemon, X-Roserade from Pokemon's universe. A quick TLDR, X-Pokemon are this game's version of regional variants, except they aren't regional, they're from this different world called the Xenoverse. Roserade has always been one of my favorite Pokemon, so to see it redesigned with the fan game's newly added sound type in mind was a very exciting moment for me. Dude, this Roserade is so fucking cool! While I'm not the biggest fan of the sound type, the design changes are what truly matter here. They kept the foundation of what makes Roserade a well-designed Pokemon and added to it. Roserade is a combination of Rose and Masquerade. The original Roserade has a Masquerade mask on, but it's really subtle and easy to miss. The X form of Roserade straight up adds another mask on top, and I think it works really well. The recoloring of the body from green to black and purple is probably the best choice. I can't really imagine any other color combos that would look good on a sound poison type Roserade. There's also the change of the flower hands to be more like speakers, but they're also stabby and lethal, really letting you know this Pokemon is a sound poison type. And then we have the longer and more damaged cape, adding to its edginess. X Roserade isn't too drastic of a change to the original Roserade, and I like that. They just emphasized a few details, and overall, I think I prefer it. If it were ever made real though, just make it a pure poison type, and give it Punk Rock or Soundproof as an ability. Next up, I want to talk about Pokemon Fool's Gold. Fool's Gold is a Generation 2 ROM hack that basically takes every Pokemon in those games and changes them in some way. Some are drastic, some are simple. While a lot of these Pokemon are unrealistic, and more so just joke Pokemon, there's two from this game in particular I absolutely adore and would love to see as regional forms. Or maybe even just take their concept and make them separate Pokemon. The first one is Gligar. Fool's Gold Gligar is straight up a gargoyle. Original Gligar is lightly inspired by gargoyles, but I feel we're long overdue a more on-the-nose gargoyle Pokemon. I'm not entirely sure what made me fall in love with this design so much. Perhaps it was the realization that we don't yet have a Pokemon with heavier gargoyle inspirations. I can just imagine sending this Gligar into battle and having it just be as still as a Sudowoodo until it has to attack. Hey, less animation work for Game Freak. I also love the fact that it's a pure rock type. I'm tired of rock and ground being paired together at any given opportunity, so it's a breath of fresh air. I like to believe that just because it's a pure rock type doesn't mean it can't fly. The second Pokemon from Fool's Gold is the Togepi line. Just like the Gligar, the Togepi line isn't subtle with its inspirations. It's a dinosaur. Who doesn't love dinosaurs? This isn't so much a plea for more dinosaur Pokemon, we have plenty in the form of fossils. I just enjoy the idea of hatching an egg and all you get from it are legs. Then you train your egg-like Pokemon and eventually a head pops out. I think Togetic's head suits being a dinosaur a lot. It's a pure ground type, which works I suppose. I can definitely see Game Freak doing more egg Pokemon in the future, so I guess all I'm really trying to say is I'd love to specifically see an egg dinosaur hybrid. Alright, enough about forms of Pokemon, let's talk about beta Pokemon. Over the past few years we've seen an abundance of beta Pokemon leaked, and while we don't have word from officials at Pokemon that they are real, I think it's safe to assume that they are. And if for some reason they aren't, whoever designed them has a really good understanding of what makes a Pokemon a Pokemon. So many of these beta designs, specifically from the Gold and Silver 97 Space World demo, leave a lot of us fans feeling robbed. If I'm being honest, I'd welcome all of these Gold and Silver beta Pokemon with open arms if for some reason Game Freak decided to add them to the franchise after all these years. But you guys want specifics. One of my absolute favorites is Beta Girafarig. Instead of the tail having a small mischievous looking head at the end of it, it straight up has a second evil giraffe head. Basically like Cat Dog. The beta design fits the name Girafarig perfectly because it's a palindrome, which means it can be read the same way forwards or backwards. Original Girafarig is a fairly unpopular Pokemon, most likely because its design is bland. It also isn't super useful compared to other Psychic types, and while I personally really enjoy the Psychic normal type combo, if this beta Girafarig were to exist, it would surely be a Psychic Dark type. The big question on everyone's mind is why Game Freak scrapped the really cool beta design we all loved in favor for a more bland, less loved Girafarig. Maybe they couldn't figure out how this Pokemon could realistically exist. I mean, I imagine both ends would be at odds with each other. How does it walk? How does it eat? Maybe Game Freak themselves weren't sure on this one, so they settled with a simpler, more boring solution. Continuing our discussion of beta Pokemon, let's talk about another one of my favorites from the Gold and Silver Space World demo. Apparently Tangela was meant to get the Roselia treatment in Generation 2, receiving a pre-evolution and an evolution. Some people call it Geranra, some people call it Gelania. I personally like to call it Better Tangrowth. This is the Betamon I'm probably most upset about not being real. I think Tangela is really cool, but it's let down by Tangrowth. Tangrowth is quite literally Tangela but bigger, whereas Geranra seems to have a different personality going on, opting out of revealing its eyes and instead showing off a sinister grin. And I actually really like the pre-evolution too. It's cute and does a good job at stripping the basics of Tangela down even further. Knowing full well these Betamons will probably never exist, the best I can do is recommend you a ROM hack to check out that allows you to use them. There's a couple out there, but the best one in my opinion is Gold and Silver 97 Reforged. It doesn't just slap the beta Pokemon into Johto and be done with it. It goes further and basically creates a whole new experience. I cannot recommend it enough. I remember playing this for the first time and I felt like I was transported back to my childhood. I felt such strong nostalgia I think I'd rather play through this ROM hack than the real Gold and Silver any day. Honestly, my playthrough of this ROM hack is the main reason I grew an attachment to Jiranra. Alright, one more Betamon to go, and it's not actually from the Gold and Silver Space World demo this time. More recently, a beta of Pokemon Diamond was leaked, and in it we didn't really find any unused Pokemon. What was found were more or less placeholders. However, there was one in particular that grabbed the attention of many. At the moment, Arceus is my least favorite Pokemon, primarily because I feel like it leaves a lot to be desired. You're telling me this is the god of Pokemon? Please. I always felt it was under-designed, but what if I was wrong? What if it's actually over-designed and the correct way to represent a godly being is by being as simple as possible? Introducing Beta Arceus. Of course, this was meant to just be a placeholder, but that didn't stop fans from drawing their interpretations of it. And honestly, as Arceus' biggest hater, I much prefer it this way. Maybe I've been watching too much Full Metal Alchemist, but God being a simple being from a design perspective is much more powerful than whatever Arceus is. Stylistically, I can't say for sure it would fit well amongst Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, but that doesn't deter my want for Beta Arceus to be real. So we've talked about forms of Pokemon, and we've talked about beta Pokemon. I think the next step is to talk about Fakemon evolutions. I actually only have one I truly wish existed, and that, my friends, is Silviper from Pokemon Blazing Emerald. Believe it or not, Silviper is an evolution of Seviper, and boy is it cool. Sadly, Seviper kind of falls in the same sort of category as Girafarig. It's not a standout Pokemon statistically, and honestly, why should we care for it when we already have Arbok, the original poison snake Pokemon? Giving Seviper this evolution just breathes new life into it. I think its Pokédex entry describes it perfectly. Seviper roamed the world as a ferocious predator in ancient times. Its long body is fortified with venom-infused silver scales, which naturally makes it a poison steel type. I'm actually just realizing now we don't have a poison steel type yet, so I guess that's its gimmick, the ultimate fairy slayer. So, 7 of the Fakemon in this video have one way or another been related to actual Pokemon. Like I said at the start, my brain loves things that feels official. That doesn't mean I don't enjoy Fakemon without ties to real life Pokemon though. I think it's just harder for me to find ones I wish were real because I know they are entirely made up. One of my absolute favorites though has to be Doodaloo from Pokemon Vega. My love for this Pokemon is purely based on design because unfortunately it's just this game's version of Smeargle. It learns Sketch every 10 levels, just like Smeargle. It's a pure normal type, just like Smeargle, and has pretty similar stats to Smeargle. It's actually slower, which I'd argue makes it worse. Smeargle and Doodaloo even have own tempo as an ability. It's just a Smeargle clone. Speaking of clones, there's actually a different form of Doodaloo, named simply Clone Doodaloo. It isn't possible to catch and use, however. It's just sort of a really broken final boss type Pokemon. It's a dark ghost type, has pure power, and has ridiculously high base stats. It's quite unfortunate that such a cool Pokemon design was let down like this. If it were real, I don't think it would be a simple Smeargle clone. I think Pokemon could do something really creative with Doodaloo. It doesn't necessarily have to be a powerhouse, but why is it just Smeargle 2.0? Anyway, on a brighter note, let's talk about a Fakemon that did something no other Fakemon has done before. Become real. On the lead up to the release of Pokemon Sun and Moon, we'd seen the final evos of the starters get leaked months before the game came out. They were leaked in this reference sheet style, and at the time, most people weren't buying it. How could the final evos possibly be leaked months in advance? Nothing like this has ever happened before. But to our surprise, they were real. And this gave Fakemon artists a new format to create fake leaks with. Introducing Platypet. Platypet was originally designed with the intention of tricking fans into believing it was the next generation water starter Pokemon. And honestly, even I was convinced. This thing truly looks like a Pokemon, but to our disappointment, the artist that created Platypet came forward and it turned out our adorable platypus starter wasn't actually going to happen. Every day I wish it did. But the dream isn't dead. Temtem, a Pokemon-inspired online RPG, picked up Platypet and its evolutions for their game. It's the main reason I bought it and checked it out. While I'm not the biggest fan of Temtem, I'm glad the design for Platypet didn't go to waste. It is far too good for that. It's finally time to talk about the last Fakemon I wish was real. Little did you know you've been looking at him this entire time. Pants. It's Pants. I want my channel mascot to be real. Is that super unrealistic? Yeah, but so is this entire video. I wanted to use this opportunity of talking about Fakemon to educate you guys on my Fakemon. So many people think Pants is just a Scrafty and Charizard fusion when that isn't the case at all. Pants is a bootleg version of Scrafty, kinda like Mimikyu to Pikachu. I don't exactly remember why creating a bootleg Scrafty came up. If I had to guess, it was maybe because we were talking about what a Scrafty Mimikyu form would look like. Not long after this discussion, my friend Inky Heart sent me this image. It was simply named bootlegscrafty.png. I fell in love with it right away and I decided I wanted to use them for something. But at the time, my channel name was still Hoodlum Scrafty, so I ended up making Pants the mascot of my second channel, Pants Lizard. Pants Lizard was originally made to upload non-Pokemon content, but I quickly realized I'm not really passionate about any other video game franchise besides Pokemon. So the upload stopped and Pants was now going unused again. In early 2019, I changed my channel name to Hoodlum Callum, but I kept my mascot as Scrafty. I was worried if I changed too much in one go, it would confuse people or drive them away from my content. Throughout 2019, I got a few more pieces of Pants art that kinda sealed the deal that I had to make Pants my mascot. This was in part inspired by Patters. Patters switched his mascot from Darkrai to Subnoodle. Creating your own Pokemon and using it as a mascot was just such a cool idea. However, this wasn't an easy choice. Since my channel's creation in 2012, Scrafty has represented me. And while Pants is very similar to Scrafty, it's still different. Eventually, I stopped procrastinating, and in February of 2020, I announced the mascot change. 5 days later, after the announcement, my friend Gabe asked what a pre-evolution of Pants would look like, which led my friend Ollie to draw Pants' pre-evolution. Shorts. Everyone was so supportive, and since then, I've received so much art of Pants and Shorts, and I cannot thank you all enough. Pants and Shorts exist because of my friends. When I decided to make Pants my mascot, I still wanted it to be a Pokemon. So I created a fake Pokemon DB page for it. Shorts evolves into Pants at level 27. This is literally just because 27 is my favorite number. Pants and Shorts are Ghost Normal type. I decided on this type combo because I felt it was a direct mirror of Dark Fighting, which is Scrafty's type. Not to mention, Ghost Normal is probably my favorite type combination. I used a Ghost Normal type Gengar Snorlax fusion in a fan game I played and the lack of weaknesses was amazing. People often ask why Pants and Shorts isn't a fire type. Its tail's on fire. That means it should be a fire type. They're literally ghosts. They can have fiery tails if they want. The abilities are Flame Body or Scrappy. I gave them Flame Body for obvious reasons. And Scrappy because it's just a really cool ability to give normal types. It also might be because it sounds similar to Scrafty. As for the base stats, for Pants, I decided to keep the total the same as Scrafty's, but mix them around. Ghosts are notorious for having low HP, so I took some HP away, distributed some of it to its speed. I love bulky Pokemon, so I took a tiny bit of physical attack away and a lot of special attack away, and distributed them equally in both defenses. Shorts' base stats follow the same rules. It's just Scraggy's, rearranged a bit. As for the moves they learn, I asked my friend Ray to give me some of the scummiest free-for-all moves he could think of, and gave them to Pants and Shorts. They're basically FFA-mons. I think if Pants and Shorts were real, they'd definitely be my favorite Pokemon. So that's the story of my channel mascot. Honestly, if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much. Like I said at the start, one of my favorite parts of this community is seeing all the Fakemon people come up with. I'd love to hear about some of your favorite Fakemon in the comments, whether you created them or not.